Hello and welcome back to Respro Church. Today we are reading Step 2, Day 9 of the Life Recovery Devotional titled God's Character. Our Bible reading for today is out of Romans 1:21 through 23. Step 2, we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Oh my goodness, yes. Most of us who have lived with addictions struggle with inner guilt. We may conclude that God is against us and or that we are against him. Our fear of rejection, coupled with the fear of having to give up an addiction that helps us cope, can cause us to distance ourselves from God. When this happens, not if, when, because unfortunately, if doesn't really, when this happens, our minds become confused. We concoct a long list of all the things we need to do in order to come to God. This list usually describes our version of what it means to be good enough. And in our minds, it often disqualifies us from the hope of having a loving relationship with God. Oh boy, that sounds exactly like what I went through first. The Apostle Paul once wrote, yes, they knew God, but they wouldn't worship him as God or even give him thanks. And they began to think up foolish ideas of what God was like. As a result, their minds became dark and confused. Claiming to be wise, they instead became utter fools. Romans 1:21 and 22. If we have negative feelings toward God, we need to look carefully at the reasoning behind our conclusions. We may have concluded that we don't want or can't accept God. If we examine these conclusions and compare them with what the Bible really says about God, we may be happy to find that God is far more loving and accepting than we might have believed possible. Addictions begin when we reject what we know about God. Recovery begins when we rediscover it. Now that is a powerful, powerful reading today. I have a bit of backstory I want to share about my life today with this reading. I grew up in what is known as the Mormon or LDS faith or church and did not really have a solid grounding of who God was. Rather, I really was only taught how to parrot what the elders and leaders of that particular faith believe about God, which I now know is a bit screwy, to say the least. And so because of this, I really did not have a grounded grasp of what it meant to truly follow God as he'd intended us to. It really did have wider implications for me when I did finally realize I wasn't following God well. I eventually decided, well, since I don't know how to follow him, and since I haven't been following him for this long, and I'm still in pain, I'm still suffering, and I'm still dealing with the flashbacks and the PTSD and the guilt from all the things I've done, all of that, I decided to drown it in alcohol because I couldn't get past it. When I finally came to the knowledge that I could find out who God was and what he wanted for my life, I still wasn't ready to finally let him take away my addiction. I thought, God doesn't want to take that away. That's my punishment. That's my penance for everything I've done. So instead, I wanted to know how I could at least have salvation in the next life. And God was still reaching out, going, my son, I just want you to be clean. I just want you to be sober. I just want you to be healthy again for once. And I wasn't ready. I couldn't be ready. I couldn't say to myself, I love myself. I love God, and I want to be healthy, and I want to be whole. I couldn't say that yet. I can now because I've seen that. And so if you're dealing with the same kind of thoughts of, oh, I'm not good enough and God doesn't want me as I am, He does. He wants you right now so he can turn you into what you're going to be later. So He can help you grow into who He knows you can be versus who you are right now. Because who you are isn't who you always have to be. It's not. It's not. But that was a bit of my story. If you guys liked it, please share the video with your friends, family, neighbors, anyone who will watch, because, the more people know about the saving power of God and His grace in our recovery, the better it is. Thank you so much for watching, sharing, subscribing, liking, and commenting. I will see you guys again later. Until then, God bless and have a wonderful day.